Shadow Slave German edition by Reichenbacher begins shipping on July 1st, like just in a week. Um, if you have wanted to buy some of that stunning art, but you didn't have the money, we actually have a free giveaway right now in announcements to one lucky winner. Um, Reichenbacher has given that to our community to honor us, and we are just so thankful for that. And so, if you want that stunning art without that price, go ahead and enter that giveaway. Take your chances and see if you are the one who will win the prize. Speaking of hardcovers, we also have our English edition hardcover by Athon, and that is coming out on October 5th. Athon's already given out some stunning backgrounds for people who pre-order, and I just got the most exciting word that they will be including illustrations from Note Epic and Alyssa Kurtakos in that hardcover edition. We did it, guys. We're getting illustrations in there. So very exciting. Please, 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 just want to thank Athon for that. And if that wasn't enough to entice you to order that, they have another surprise. This one is actually regarding the webcomic, but going to mention that a little bit later after the interview. So stay tuned on that special little tidbit. Both of those editions are still available for pre-order. Go ahead and get your copy now. I already mentioned that webcomic, and it is coming. Many of you have been asking for the date. Well, I can't give the exact date, but I have been given permission to say it will be mid-August. I have a little poster for that hopefully I gave to Tony, and it will just show up on the side magically um, of that mid-August date to look for. And so, um, wait, we'll get the poster. It's going to happen. Don't worry. It's the one with the date, not the other one. Um, so we'll see if it gets up there. If not, I'll post it at the end. After, so yes, webcomic mid-August, just weeks away. So, um, and as if things couldn't get any better, we have a sneak peek for you of our upcoming Shadow Slave inspired Roblox game. That's right. We've got a game that's going to be Shadow Slave inspired. This is a proof of concept game for a larger game, but it promises to be amazing in its own right. Just watch the video and you will be as impressed as I am. Check out that trailer on YouTube after the interview. That picture is going to go, that link will go over on the side, and I will have to post it again later for everyone. But please, we're very excited about the Roblox game. And then, keep going. Another very exciting thing. I know many of you have been asking for an audiobook for ages, and I have some wonderful news for you. Athon has just announced that they are doing a standard audiobook edition exclusively on Audible. I can't share the details, but you can be on the lookout for it in the coming months. I did hear who they're using for the voices, and I approve. It is going to be quality. So I will have good news for you very soon about where you can pick up that audiobook as soon as it comes out. Thank you, Athon. And one last thing before we begin, and this is really hot off the presses. I got this, last night? Shadow Slave is getting a new translation for publication. The German edition has been so successful that Reichenbacher is going to make a French edition. So we get to have a French translation. That book is going to be hitting the shelves in spring of 2027. So I'll update you with more information as we have it, but that really just happened. So we now have German, French, and English. Who knows what language will be next? So those are my announcements. But don't forget to stay tuned for our special announcement regarding the webcomic at the end. All right, take a deep breath. Here we go. Are you still there?
Luckily, yes.
Luckily
Still alive.
for all of us. I'm not sure what I would do if you were just gone. Okay, so how do you feel about all of those announcements?
Very exciting. Very exciting. Also a little scary. Yeah.
Why scary?
Just, I don't know, so many things happening. But yeah, guys, if you want to have Shadow Slave on your shelf, do place a pre-order. It really helps.
Mhm. Absolutely. Go get it now, and you will be the first. And that's fun. That's fun bragging rights for sure. Okay, I've got our questions. Are you ready?
Uh, no, but let's go anyway.
I love the honesty. All right, so flame wave is going to be our first question. They say, we know that the spirits that rain perceives can be near anything, to the point that a group of people can be considered to have a spirit. So I wonder how far this extends. Could abstract concepts, such as space in a region, time, emotions, qualities like honor, humility, etc., have spirits that rain can perceive and affect?
Uh, well, I think that the spirits of concepts like honor or so forth, they would be like a capital S spirits, as in deities. So a god of honor, a god of valor, and so forth.
Okay, interesting. So Dreamer J0835 wants to know who was more popular before Kai awakened, Knight or Gale?
Well, I think Kai was more widely popular, but there were a lot of Gale fans, and they considered Kai fans to be basic and uninspired. So take it as you will.
I love that. I love that a lot. I wasn't sure how you were going to answer that, but that was perfect. All right. Ami wants to know, do you have any advice for picking or commissioning a cover for web novels? For example, minimalist or something like that.
Honestly, I have no idea because I like the cover of Shadow Slave a lot, but everyone, including web novel stuff, uh, have told me that my cover is terrible. So don't listen to advice from me. The only thing I can say, find an image that you like or an artist that you like and purchase a license to use it as a cover or commission a new work. And also, if you're publishing on web novel, keep in mind that the thumbnails for the covers are really tiny. So try to have like one big central shape instead of a lot of little things.
That's a really good point. They are very tiny on a phone. Symphonia
Yeah,
wants to know. Oh, you had more.
yeah. Don't pirate covers.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. Symphonia wants to know, are there any details or plot points that you regret writing into the story?
Difficult question.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time I try to read Shadow Slave, I stop after a few chapters due to how much I'm cringing because I see here I could have written it better and here I could have written it better. But at the same time, honestly, I wouldn't change anything because the flaws of Shadow Slave is also a part of the journey. Uh, so, in general, I'm not striving to be perfect, so wouldn't change a thing,
Oh.
except a few things.
Yeah, yes. Wouldn't change a thing except maybe everything. I feel that way sometimes too. But yeah, no, that's part of what makes it special. Spade Hayes wants to know, how would an ancient supreme like Azarax or Connacht have fared in Broken Sword's position after his fourth nightmare when fighting his cohort? A lot of questions in there.
Mm. Well, I think they would have fared same or worse. First of all, it wasn't like a fair battle here. Broken Sword was attacked unexpectedly and betrayed, so it's difficult to say, but modern Supremes are definitely very powerful when compared to the ancient times.
Hmm. Okay, good to know. Awakened Regret wants to know if you could choose a person in the world to grant them the fated attribute, who would it be?
That's an interesting question because, on one hand, it's like the person will be very lucky, and on the other hand, the worst possible things would continue to happen to them all the time. So I don't know. I think it would be funny to give it to someone very famous just to see what happens. Like I think Jim Carrey can handle being fated very well.
poor, poor Jim Carrey. That's funny. Okay, I can see that.
Exactly. It's funny. It's very funny.
That he kind of his movies kind of lean that way anyway. No one would think twice about it. That's really funny. All right. Um, so Jeremy wants to know: did Connacht invent the sacrificial-based sorcery that was used to seal the Dark Sea? Ooh.
No, he didn't invent it, and the ritual that other Connacht used is different from the sorcery that the heroes of the Forgotten Shore used. That sorcery was their own invention.
Okay. Very cool. Teddy. Oh, Teddy. Teddy wants to know who is your favorite moderator and why is it me?
I love all my moderators equally, but I do have a special affinity to the old crew and the original mod team. So you're up there, Teddy, definitely.
There you go, Teddy. You're at the top somewhere in there. I do too. It's been a good many years, but uh, ASG 999 says in 10 years, if you meet a shadow slave reader, what is something you would be proud or happy to know that they remembered fondly when recalling the novel?
Hmm. Well, I can say what kind of comments and reviews like warm my heart right now, and it's when I see a person mention that Shadow Slave was the first novel, and it like opened the love of reading for them, and it led them to reading more great novels. So I think in 10 years, if somebody says that Shadow Slave was the beginning of their reader journey, that would make me feel very happy.
Okay. Yeah. I like seeing the when you're their first book too. It makes me very happy. My English teacher heart just burst of like they're reading. So I get it. It's very special. Um, Decan Mayel wants to know: can people have the same source element and domain?
People can have the same source element, but there can be only one domain associated with that source element. So if by some miracle two people with the same source element become supreme, uh, they will have to battle it out for supremacy with only one remaining in the end.
Oh, so yeah, you're gonna end up with another unfortunate war if you're not careful. That makes sense. Um, okay, Rowan would like to know, and I have to do this justice. Rowan would like to know, where are the Sylvain shades, G3? Are they okay, G3? I must know, G3. Where are they, G3? I have never called you G3 before, so you're welcome.
Thank you. Well, I can definitively say that at least one of them is okay. And I won't say anything else.
Sorry. That was perfect. I am overjoyed right now with that answer because it made me laugh. Oh my. Okay. Poor Sylvain. Moving on to Nur0123. Are divine lineages on par with pieces of Weaver's lineage? Weaves provide incredible buffs to Sunny's mind, body, soul, and spirit, and they have saved him from dying multiple times. Are divine lineages just as strong and provide the same buffs to the user, or are they stronger, weaker than weavers? And it's not talking about abilities or attributes.
The divine lineages are stronger in some aspects and weaker in other aspects. But overall, Wither's lineage is a bit more potent than the divine lineages.
Okay. I want to ask a question I'll ask you later. Um, Waffle wants to know, how many times did you plan for Sunny to die when you were starting out writing the novel?
I didn't plan anything when I was starting writing the novel. I literally had no idea what Forgotten Shore is a day before writing the first chapter of The Forgotten Shore. So I didn't know that Sunny will die even once, let alone many times. But I knew that his adventures will be very thrilling. Let's describe them as that.
But you did have him die in the first nightmare. I'm just saying. So you've planned
Well,
pretty quick
sort
on
of.
there. Sort of. He died. He died,
Yeah,
but didn't die. You went and killed him out of the gate. So at that point, anything's fair game.
true.
Okay. Yeah. Crosta wants to know, what job were you playing as in Barotrauma? What was your submarine of choice? I'm assuming Barotrauma is a game.
Yeah, it's a great game. It's probably the funnest cooperative game I've played. When I was playing co-op with friends, I was playing as a security officer, and in my solo campaign, I was playing as an assistant. And I ended that campaign by putting on a clown costume and opening the doors of the submarine and swimming out into the great darkness of the ocean, never to return. Uh, and that was pretty great. And my submarine, I made a custom submarine. Uh, it was based on the humpback model, and I think it's the optimal sub for like 4 or 5 people to play.
Okay. You said you dressed up as a clown and swam into the abyss.
It's a whole thing. If you're playing as an assistant, you have a special skill tree that turns you in the Lovecraftian clown, uh, including
This is
the ability to breathe underwater and not be crushed by the pressure of the alien ocean.
There
So in
was
the
my
end, I
question.
became,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
a whole new world. Okay. Breathing underwater and a clown costume. I love it. Okay. Father Peo wants to know, does Morgan have a favorite type of metal, and do they taste differently when she consumes them?
I'm not sure if they have a taste per se, but they are differentiated by their quality. So the greater the quality, the more Morgan receives from consuming that metal. So her favorite metal is the strongest metal, like a mystical, mythic stuff. So hold on to your forks when Morgan is around.
But
Protect your silverware.
that's not high quality metal, though, is it? Maybe mine is. Maybe I don't know. That's funny. Hold on to your forks. Mori Jen wants to know, would Sunny and Nephis enjoy playing Dark Souls and Elden Ring?
No, no, never. Why? They already living a worse version of this already like gruesomely dreadful games. I think I said it before, but if Nephis were a gamer, she would be playing something like Infinity Nikki. And Sunny would love something like Sims or any kind of tycoon simulator. Basically any game where you get rich.
Any game to get rich. All the Tycoon series back in the day. It's funny. Dark Dancer wants to know, what food and games would Revel like if she plays any? Oh, and is the Northern Duke series continuing? Thank you, Dark Dancer.
Yeah, very serious question. First of all, The Northern Duke is not a series, it's a standalone novel. Please don't conflate the two. And as for games, well, it's obviously some kind of otome simulator. I've never played any, so I can't tell the title, but it would be one of those, definitely.
Yeah, I think the Northern Duke question was directed at me. Uh, so that's funny. Halo Wing wants to know Sunny and Nephis' will was said to have fused. Was it because both of them were augmenting each other, or is it quite literally fused and they don't even need to augment each other to get the effect of that strong will?
Hmm. An interesting question. I'd say Nephis receives a passive bonus to her domain from being Sunny's master. But for the fusion of their wills, they need to be augmenting each other. At least one of them has to augment the other.
Okay, that makes sense. So lots of fusion happening just in different ways. Arcana wants to know if Cassie can create a person from her memories, where does that person's identity come from? Is her Mad Prince truly the Mad Prince, or a version of him shaped by her understanding and memories? I like that question.
The person's identity doesn't come from Cassie. It's the real thing. It might not be like the original person, but it's an identical copy of the original person.
Okay.
So it doesn't depend on how she remembers them. It's like an objective entity.
Okay, so she's pulling on something outside of herself. There's been a ton of debate on that with Cassie's ability, so that answers it. I like it. Addie would like to know between Sunny and Nephis, who is the better cook now, and what would their best dish look like?
Now, now I'd say Sunny is a better cook. And as for the best dish, it's either the pancakes or the waffles. And we won't discuss which because that would take a whole another interview.
Still waiting on that recipe book. We did our own, waiting for Sunny to release his. That's funny. Tony, the other noble, would like to know if Seishin or Seishin? It's Seishin, right? I do that every time.
I pronounce it as Seishan,
Seishin.
but you can
Hey,
pronounce.
I was right. And then people tell me I'm wrong. If Seishin and her sisters open a bagel shop, would they also serve Dr. Pepper, or would the innate law against perfection prevent two such delicious products from coexisting?
Well, here we dive into the like real nitty gritty of the absolute laws of existence.
Deep,
Like,
deep stuff.
is all Pepper equal? Like, are all cans of Pepper equally flawless? Or is there a theoretical flawless can of Dr. Pepper? So I'd say the bagels and Dr. Pepper can coexist unless Seishan and her sisters find a perfect bagel and a perfect Dr. Pepper. If
Mm-hmm.
those two powers are brought together, the universe might collapse.
So, yeah, we need to avoid that. That's really funny. Vel would like to know since Cassie is the person who understands Mordred best, does she consider him a friend and vice versa?
I'm not sure if friendship is the correct term, uh, but they do have a sort of bond.
Okay. So, yeah, I can see that. not really. I don't know. Does Mordred have friends? That's a whole other topic for another day, I guess. Uh, Soulshine wants to know, what is your favorite type of nightmare creature to write about? It was also asked by CR.
I like the mental manipulation nightmare creatures. I think it's pretty obvious. But I also like any kind of nightmare creature that has like an unusual appearance and an simple but easily defined set of powers.
So,
My favorite nightmare creature is the Rolling Stone, though, beyond competition. The best nightmare creature ever.
why?
Because it's just, you know, so useless.
I love it. Uh huh. So, yeah. So you like the really complex or the really simple? I is what I just gathered from that. Um, that's funny. Uh, Dustin is Beast wants to know, do nightmares block supreme abilities? For example, can Nephis heal someone who is in her domain during their nightmare, or Cassie see what they're doing and talk to them? Hmm.
No, nightmares do isolate the challengers from the outside world completely. So Nephis can like sense a bit of like the desires of the challengers, but she can't heal them or provide any kind of feedback.
Interesting. Yeah, that would be a little bit of a cheat, so makes sense. Senkai wants to know, I wondered if Nightmare's conscious. Oh, I see what this is. I wondered if it's Nightmare's conscious choice to stay a horse no matter what battle he participates in, when Sunny once implied that Nightmare could change forms.
Well, I'm not sure that it's a conscious choice, but it is a choice that Nightmare made at some point in the past.
Okay. Nazrak wants to know, when someone with an aspect deranks, does their aspect reseal so that they only have access to the abilities corresponding to their current rank?
I don't think we had examples of humans going down a rank, but in theory, if they did, yes, their aspect abilities would be sealed.
I think they were referring to Mordred because he obviously didn't quite make it, but I would think that it didn't fully unseal, so he wouldn't have access to it either way at that point.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. Interesting. I really thought you were going to delete this one. Slipper wants to know, what is June's ascended ability?
Uh, Only B knows. I only told it to B, and I will never share that with anyone ever again.
Oh no,
So
now you're going to make everyone ask me. I'm not telling anyone, so don't ask me. I will block you.
and that's why I didn't delete that question.
You sent everyone after me. Thank you. All right.
No problem.
Star Lord wants to know, if Cassie were to have her memories of something or someone erased after having summoned it or them through her supreme ability, would the summon disappear instantly or would it remain summoned?
I think they will probably disappear.
Okay. That would have been my guess also. Um, Lupus wants to know, was Severus an Eastern style dragon or a Western style dragon?
He's a Western style dragon. I actually really wanted to imagine him as an Eastern kind of dragon, uh, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't like visualize that in my head.
Interesting.
Eastern dragons are a bit weird to imagine.
Yeah, they've got more of a serpent feel to them, I think. That's my that's my difference in my head. Crumbs wants to know. Oh, it says, "Hello, Guilty. It's been an honor for me for you to finally read through my question." I'm gonna keep going here to my question. My question is, have you ever had plans or thoughts to make a sequel of Shadow Slave or perhaps a prequel? And then it says, "Thanks to Snow and the Mods." Very sweet. For
No, I'm definitely not planning on writing like a new story in the Shadow Slave universe. I think I've said before that there are too many other worlds to explore to just stay in that single one. But I might do something like non-narrative based in that universe if I have time.
Ah, that's interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Adamo Veritas wants to know, the government and the great and lesser clans seem to encompass most awakened in this setting, but would there be any independent groups of awakened that give their loyalty first to a local city or continent?
There are definitely independent awakened, but as for giving loyalty to local city or continent, all cities and all continents are a part of the government, so it would be difficult, I guess, or at least counterproductive to have like a local collection of awakened who only care about one city. Because a single city is not self-sustainable in this world. You need the help of a greater power to achieve results.
Yeah, it would be counterproductive. I gotcha. Toxic wants to know, who of the cohort would be most likely to be an influencer outside of Kai?
Well, I think Effie could be a great, like a mukbang streamer, right?
Oh my, I don't know that Effie's videos would be very popular. Yes. Oh my, that's funny. AK Space asks, how bad was the relationship between Mordred and Morgan after he came back from being with Asterion? And it asks, did Mordred abuse Morgan?
It was pretty bad. Well, you can imagine with Mordred being like not possessing all the emotions that people should possess.
Yeah. I'm glad you didn't write that in great detail. That would be very rough to read. Muffin asks, when a gate first opens, monsters come out in order of rank, dormant, awakened, ascended, and so on until the gate guardian. Are these nightmare creatures created by the gate directly, or do they wander in from the dream realm, just like the random nightmare creatures that come after the gate guardian is dead? If it's the latter, where the heck did all the nightmare creatures in Antarctica come from when the nightmare desert has no nightmare creatures?
The nightmare creatures that come out of the gate are the nightmare creatures in the dream realm that are attracted to the blooming seed. So the gate does not create them, they just pass through the seed. As for where the chain of nightmares creatures came from, some of them came from the nightmare desert, some of them came from inside the tomb of Ariel, and some of them came from someplace else.
Okay, that's very interesting. I like that. Fridge wants to know, was the "My Mother Had a Poetic Soul" bit inspired by, I'm not sure, how does Lukianeko's book Star Shadow, which is the sequel to The Stars Are Cold Toys?
No, I did read it, his books, when I was like in middle school, maybe high school, but I don't remember much about them. So no, it wasn't inspired by Lukianek, although I do love many of his early works a lot. Sergei Lukyanenko is one of the most prominent Russian science fiction and fantasy writers, and the height of his popularity was like my school and university years.
Interesting. Okay, and it's been translated into English, obviously, at some point. So
I'm not sure that all of it was, but he did have like a couple of movie adaptations, so I think those books were translated. Like the
interesting.
Day Watch, Night Watch, and stuff. It's an interesting take on urban fantasy.
But would I like it?
The books, maybe. The movie, probably not.
Okay, you know. Okay, well, I might look into the books then. So let's see, who is this name is cut off. Uh, the user Rebel Fan number 2. Okay, wants to know how many more chapters do you think are left for the novel?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
How many more chapters do you think are left for the novel? Do you think you'll still end around 3,500?
Hopefully, maybe it will take me like 100 or 200 chapters more. But I really hope to finish it around 3,500.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I hope it is all you want and perfect. Severine wants to know how did Awakened in the past deal with their aspect legacies?
They didn't deal with the aspect legacies because aspect legacies are granted by the Nightmare spell. So the Ancient Awakened did not have the Nightmare spell, therefore no aspect legacies.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Pizza King 234 says, which shoulder is Crow's favorite?
One of Jet's shoulders, obviously, but if you're asking if it's a left shoulder of the right shoulder, uh, it's whatever shoulder is above her dominant hand, because it would be harder to hit Crow if Crow is sitting there.
That's funny. So no being able to shoot Crow because that's funny. I like it. Ashley Can wants to know. I'm curious as to how you came up with your NQSC song.
There were a few questions about never quitting Super Cupid,
Mm-hmm.
so I'll try to answer them all in one go. So obviously it's inspired by K-pop, uh, but actually I don't really know a lot about K-pop. There are only two K-pop groups I know. One of them is Twice, the other one is SHINee. So when writing Never Quitting Super Cupid, I was inspired by the cheesiest, cringiest, most horrible examples of theoretical K-pop inspired by SHINee. And I was listening to Sherlock while writing that abomination of the song.
And you're not going
And
to sing it for us.
no, I will never sing it. I have two phobias in my life. I'm afraid of insects and I'm afraid of karaoke. So you will never hear me sing.
That's really funny.
And also I want to add something.
Sure.
I saw that some people, maybe even a lot of people, assumed that I was earnestly trying to write a good song.
That?
And I think it's pretty obvious that it was like a parody. So please don't uh, think that I'm an aspiring songwriter.
Yeah. No, I had to tell a few people that it was terrible on purpose, and they were relieved. Um, So that's really funny.
The lines, he's filling your love core with love essence, didn't like hint that it's a parody.
I mean, it should have, yes. Yes, it should have.
I'm I'm
Uh,
I'm questioning what kind of music my readers listen to.
um, I, yeah, don't look at me. Apparently, they love K-pop, and you did it beautifully, and they thought it was the next masterpiece. All right. So, Viz wants to know, for the 1,000 thrones that Azarex conquered, are all of them, most of them, supreme, or saints from lesser realms? At least I just wanted an estimate on how many supremes and above that Azarex has conquered.
No, most of the thrones he conquered were not, did not belong to supremes. There wasn't 100 supremes back then. Yeah, and also I just thought about how my previous answer sounded, and I want to say that that wasn't like a critique of K-pop as a genre. I actually
No,
like the songs that I like.
yeah, I know you do. So I get it. K-pop is really bouncy and fun, but it is not meant to, for the most part, be taken super deep and serious. So it was a fun parody of K-pop. Um, It Bodo wants to know, if future volumes get adapted to physical copies, will they be split into parts like Lord of the Mysteries, or just one huge book per volume?
Well, that depends on the publisher and like the realities of the traditional publishing market. I'm definitely in favor of keeping most of the volumes as is. Like a couple of them can be split in a few parts, but most of them have like one continuous storyline, so breaking them up will be a detriment, in my opinion. But it's not up to me.
Yeah. But having the Dark Lord travelogue as 3 little books would be actually really cute. That's the only one I would be okay with splitting up. Okay. Fortunate Fate wants to know, what have you learned from writing Shadow Slave that you think will be useful when you write another story?
And an endless amount of things. Shadow Slave is my first serious like work. I've never, more or less never written like long form narrative content before. So everything was a lesson, and basically I didn't know anything when I was starting.
Yeah.
One particular lesson is to limit the scope of my story in advance and not end up stuck writing it for like 5 years.
You did create a wonderful world, but yes, it does grow. Uh, that's funny. Celestial Being wants to know, why didn't the forgotten god awaken when Weaver was alive and worshipped by the river people? Which one has more risk of awakening the forgotten god? Weaver worshipped by the river people, or people knowing about Sunny?
Good question. And if you read the Tomb of Authorial carefully, you will notice that the river people, in particular the Anankes people, never worshipped Wither. They respected Wither, but their religion was aimed specifically at the nightmare spell. So Ananke is a priestess of the nightmare spell and not of Wither. And that was by design. Weaver created their cult that way, specifically to avoid being revered and venerated and worshipped by a lot of people.
That makes sense. I noticed that she was the nightmare spell. Okay, Anvil Lover wants to know, why didn't Asterion consume nightmare creatures instead of humans to achieve apotheosis? After all, not only are there much more nightmare creatures in than there are humans, but there are also many great rank which he can eat. There's the nature of
Well,
the
it
quote.
was simply because, due to the nature of his powers and due to the nature of nightmare creatures, enthralling nightmare creatures is much more difficult and dangerous for him.
Yeah,
So, enthralling humanity was a much more realistic path.
makes sense. He took the easier way, I guess. Rhodey wants to know, will the physical copy refine the chapters that it is covering, or will it be the same?
There will be like some editing, mostly concerning typos, uh, grammar and stuff, but I don't think there will be like some major rewrites.
Yeah. Okay. Biscuit asks, which of the main trio enjoys fast food the most?
Oh, definitely Sunny. Do you even have to ask?
I was thinking he wouldn't have had that much fast food up until Awakening and getting out of the Forgotten Shore. So,
Yeah, but the question is not which of the main trio had enjoyed fast food the
that's true.
most.
That's true.
Which
It's
one
himself.
enjoys fast food the most? Yeah,
He does. He has such a refined palate now, though, as he eats rats. I'm just saying. Okay.
MSG for the win.
There you go. Um, Nixon4 wants to know, has there been anything that you've added to the story in the heat of the moment or as soon as you thought about it?
Yeah, most of the story.
Hmm.
Uh, no, honestly, it's 50-50. As I always describe it, I usually know what I want to write, but I decide how it happens in the process. So the details of what's going on is usually come as I write.
Yeah, makes sense. The boy in the corner wants to know, what is Serpent's supreme ability?
Serpent does not have a supreme ability. In general, creatures receive abilities when they achieve a new class, not a new rank. So there wouldn't be a supreme ability.
Okay, that that answers that. IFOS 1549 wants to know, since the stone saints are living and sentient creatures, is it possible that they were infected by the nightmare spell when they were alive in the past? Or does the nightmare spell only infect humans?
It is possible, and they were infected.
Hmm,
When we met Saint, she was a nightmare creature. So she was a stone saint who succumbed to corruption.
interesting. So that she had the spell. Okay.
Sorry, I think I misheard
I think you read
the
that. I
question.
think that was backwards. They can succumb to corruption, but they can't be infected by the nightmare spell, right? Like, would the stone saints get nightmares?
All right, yeah, I misheard. Uh, in that case, they could be infected by the nightmare spell, but they weren't because the nightmare spell only infected living beings in the divine realms. So if there were some stone saints who somehow survived the end of the world in one of the divine realms, they could have been potentially infected by the nightmare spell.
Okay, interesting. Very interesting. Um, Relax wants to know, how many volumes are left in the story?
I think two, maybe three, but most likely 2.
Okay. Wait, does that end us on which volume are we on right now? So that
Volume
ends us at
12.
14. 14, yeah, we're on 12 right now. Perfect.
Oh, I mean, the 12th and the 13th, these are the 2 remaining volumes, hopefully.
Right.
I hope it won't end up being 3 volumes.
Makes sense. We'll see. We'll see how many chapters you end up writing. And who knows? If you go for 7, the next one is 21. And I don't think you want to go that far. Multiples of 7. So Zeno wants to know, do you have a favorite moment you've written? Or do you have a part you're particularly proud of? This was also asked by Oren.
Well, there are many moments in the Shadow Slave that I'm proud of. In general, I think probably volumes 5, 8, and 11 are like my best work, in my opinion. But I personally enjoyed writing the 8th volume the most.
Uh-huh. And why did you enjoy writing it the most? That's not a question on here, but now I'm curious.
Well,
Because of all
first of
the...
all, it was just a slice of life, light-hearted volume. So people who don't write usually don't realize it, but when you're writing tense, depressing, heavy stuff, you feel tense, depressed, and heavy. And when you're writing fun and light-hearted stuff, you'll feel like uplifted and get in a great mood. But I think volume 8 also has some great action scene. I like the structure, the flashbacks through Cassie's ability. So
Yeah,
it's overall a whole package.
yeah. That, I think volume 11 has been consistently, everyone has talked very nicely about it the whole way through, which was really fun to see. People enjoy all the different elements. I like the happy-go-lucky too. I like volume 3 for that reason. It's got a lot of like slice of life and just seeing Sunny interact with the world that he hasn't had a chance to yet. So I'm with you. I like the happy stuff, and it's fun to read, and I know it's probably fun to write too.
Yeah, and also a certain Dreamscape champion appears in volume 3, right?
I would, to be fair, I would love it even without that, but that is the icing on the cake. The fact that you included her is just lovely. So I'm not ever going to complain about that. I will complain that you don't bring her back, but that's about all I will complain about. Uh,
She would overshadow Sunny, so it's a bit difficult.
yeah, no, no, no. See, we'll talk later. Um, uh, so biology thieving Julian wants to know. I wanted to simply ask if twins would or do have a unique relation when it comes to aspect and flaws, seeing how genetically they are basically the same human being. That's interesting.
Genetics do not affect a lot. Uh, so that aspect of twins wouldn't have any influence on their aspects and powers. But anything is possible. So a pair of twins definitely can have like a shared aspect and a unique joined identity for the nightmare spell.
Oh, so
But
it's just
basically, it's just the rule of cool. If it's a cool idea, it can be realized.
just creativity is the order of the day there. I like it. Moriman8 wants to know, hi G3, if you ever get sent into a first nightmare, do you realistically think you can survive? And if you do, what will be your aspect and flaw?
Depends on the nightmare. Uh, I think it's there's very little chance that I will survive the first nightmare. But if I do survive, my aspect will be cliffhanger god, and my flaw will be the necessity to post 14 chapters a week. So
There you go.
here
I
you
like it.
go.
Forever. That would mean the book would never end. Some people would be very happy about that. Lethal wants to know, what will you do after Shadow Slave? And then also, is Broken Sword's name unknown for a reason?
After Shadow Slave, I'm gonna lay down on a couch and sleep for about a year, and then we'll see. I'll probably write something else. As for Broken Sword's name, listen, guys, you must realize one thing. Like, naming is the curse that haunts all authors. So if I don't have to name something or someone, I will never name something or someone. So Broken Sword does have a name, but I'm not coming up with it.
Just call him Bob. Don't do that. I was kidding. Strike Laser wants to know, how do you come up with character names? Oh no, that's really funny back to back. How do you come up with character names? And do the main cohort's names have any specific origin?
I already said that naming is a curse. I can tell you a few fun things about the names of the main cohort. So first of all, Nephis and Cassie, these weren't supposed to be their names. It was just like a placeholder names I gave them while I was coming up with the story. And I was 100% intending to change them. But in the end, they just sort of like stuck to them. And so Nephis with the Nephilim attribute, and Cassie, who is obviously like a reference of Cassandra. It's a bit on the nose, so
I like it.
I'm a bit ashamed of these names. Also, Jet wasn't always called Jet. Actually, about for 2 weeks, she was called something else, and then I retconned her name and edited it out and changed it to Jet.
Right. She had a first and last name originally.
Yeah, she was the only person in Shadow Slave with the last name.
Which is ironic for someone from, the outskirts.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay.
But it's for the best because I think Jet is the best name I've come up with.
It is a cool name. I will give you that one. Gunter wants to know, what is your favorite food and what is Kai's favorite food?
My favorite food. My favorite food is potatoes in any shape and form. I think that potatoes are really like ambrosia, the food of gods. Potatoes are delicious, boiled, fried. French fries are delicious. Potato chips are delicious. Mashed potatoes are delicious. All kinds of stuff can be done with potatoes. More than that, did you know that you can grow 300 potatoes from a single potato? So
How do you do
if that's
that?
not, it's have been done. I've been taught that in a biology class
That's pretty
and
cool.
was very impressed. Yeah, so if that's not divine food, that I don't know what is. As for Kai, I don't know, probably some kind of salad, probably something with tofu.
Okay.
Or, on the contrary, it can be something like super forbidden for an idol, like ice cream.
Just
So yeah,
chocolate,
let's
yeah,
go
something.
with ice cream. Yeah.
That's funny. Just sneak it in. Checkered wants to know, this is a long one. I was wondering about the nature of modern nightmares. Assuming the one found in LO49 can be challenged by an awakened, could Lester challenge his nightmare as himself? Oh. Or any other Antarctican veteran? And do nightmares have to be formed in relation to an event, or do they have to be formed in relation to an event to do with corrupted or awakened? Um, okay, theoretically, could the
Okay.
spell? It's a long question. I think you get the gist.
Mhm. So first of all, yes, Laster can theoretically challenge a nightmare where he himself is one of the characters. So Chain of Nightmares veterans can end up in nightmares in Antarctica, in theory. As for does the spell need to base nightmares in some kind of event, such as like collapse of North America? Well, first of all, nightmare spell does not create the nightmares. The nightmares are grown from the seeds of nightmare, and the spell merely like bases the trial on what the seed is born from. And the seed can be born from any kind of like nightmarish event.
Okay.
But it must probably be tied to corruption.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, Random Shadow wants to know, is there a large time difference between the realms and the dream realm? Just like how the Earth has time zones, or it appears as such because it takes people a while to get to a new one. That's a hard question.
Well, time zones in the dream realm. So, what is a time zone? Yeah, it's as far as I remember it, it depends on the angle in which sun rays hit the surface of that particular region, right? Uh, so the dream realm, which has different skies, different suns, different moons, and so forth, I'm not sure if a time zone is applicable to the dream realm. But yeah, there are different regions in the dream realm where time and season is different. So
Mm-hmm.
it can be day in one region, night in the other region, it can be winter in the waking world, summer in that region of the dream realm, and so forth.
Makes sense. It's a free for all. Time zones were made by people anyway, so they could invent them, I guess. Uh, Egypt Terra 110 wants to know, is it possible for someone to be born without a fate?
No, it's impossible. Everyone has a fate.
There you go. That was easy. Rance wants to know, do you read much in your spare time? If so, what?
Yeah, currently I'm reading a lot. Like for the first couple of years of writing Shadow Slave, I lost the ability to read because like my head was filled with just this one story. But luckily, gradually, I regained the desire to read other stories. So it's currently my main hobby. Uh, but I think you'd be surprised by what I read. Like for the last
I would.
couple of years, I mostly read like Korean romantic reincarnation stories, especially ones about villainesses and so on. I must have read like 300 of them. And currently, I'm not sure. I'm in search of a new favorite genre.
Okay. A new favorite genre. Well, I hope you find one soon. Cream, this has already been answered, but Cream wants to know, which was your favorite arc to write. I guess you gave your top three. Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, as I mentioned, Volume 8, The Lord of Shadows, I had the best time writing that one, and quality wise, I think is the most well rounded. I think Volume 5 maybe accomplishes the things it sets out to accomplish the best. Volume 11 might be like the most complex one, and it really, a lot of things in Volume 11, I really expected that people will kill me for writing them, but somehow I pulled it off.
Hmm.
But Volume 8 is my favorite, and I think it's the most well rounded. I know that a lot of people do not like it because it's not their cup of tea, but for me personally, it's the best one.
Yeah. I like that you write what you want to write and not what everybody else wants you to. It makes it enjoyable to see all the different things. So, Pink Pineapple wants to know, after years of writing, has the lore or ending changed, expanded, diverged from what you originally planned before you started writing? It says a simple yes or no is fine.
Yes.
Yes, yes,
Well,
yes.
as I mentioned, I didn't really have a detailed plan or even much of a plan when I started writing. So everything, all the lore is an expansion of the initial idea.
Mm.
The ending did not really change, but once again, I only had a very vague idea of what the ending will be at the beginning. So all the details, all the context of the ending have changed drastically.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, Lost from Light wants to know, are there any plans on making a Shadow Slave anime or video game?
Well, uh, I'm not like responsible for all these things. I'm mainly focused on writing the novel, so I don't know. But there is a Shadow Slave inspired Roblox game in production. You can see the trailer on YouTube. So there's that.
Right, we can put that over in the side again, maybe. Yeah, so that's going on. Griffin and Snow have been working on that for quite some time. So, Snow, it looks really cool. Um, Doom Guy, that's a name. How do you manage to come up with such amazing environments and mystical aspects of the story?
I guess I just try to imagine them really hard. I will say that by default, I don't care about environments at all. So it's not something I actively think about. But when writing Shadow Slave, knowing that a major theme of the world is dreams and nightmares, I made a conscious effort to make the environments as dreamlike and fantastical as I could. So yeah, it was a bit of hard work, but in the end, I'm really happy with how original the locations are.
They're pretty iconic. Sweet Potato Man wants to know, does Sunny prefer waffles or pancakes?
Uh, how do I be? How do I say it in a diplomatic ways, not to offend anyone?
Oh, you're going to offend half the server either way. You left the question, so that's on you.
Uh, Basically, French toast destroys both pancakes and
Just defend
waffles.
everyone. Love it.
Yeah, so Sunny secretly prefers French toast. No, I'm
So,
joking. I prefer French toast, but Sunny uh, can't decide between the two.
what do you put
It's
on your
like
French
yin and
toast?
yang. Nothing, nothing. I think that putting something on French toast is like a Western tradition.
Okay,
We
but
just
it's French
eat them
toast, which is
as is here.
it's French. I'm married to a French Canadian, so like we have French toast, but like you put things on it. There's syrup, like
It,
someday.
it's already it's already bread with egg on it, so and butter.
Oh, that's really funny. It does have, yes, French toast is delicious. I agree. I will not argue about that part. That's just funny. Ferris wants to know, all things being equal, are Solvane and Noctis stronger than the War Realm Saints or not?
I think it's an unfair question because and Sylvain, when we met them, were like more than 1,000 years old. So I'd say they would be stronger than modern saints due to just the breadth of their experience. But if we talk about Noctis and Sylvain at a comparable age to modern saints,
Mm-hmm.
then it's an open question. I'd say they'd be pretty high in the overall rating, but maybe not at the very peak.
Okay. So timing is everything. Raccoon Ancestor Schnitzel wants to know, have there been times where you yourself have been surprised by how certain scenes play out, or how a character acts, or what they say during the writing process? If so, what are they?
Oh, many times. Many times. Well, generally, I'm in control of uh, what happens in the story, but oftentimes the story wants to go in a different direction from what I had imagined. And actually, I think it's a testament to the skill of the writer if he can go with the flow of the story and adjust to how the story develops instead of sticking to the like preconceived notion of what it should be.
Yeah, yeah. It's good to be surprised by your own writing. It means it's still fresh for me. Moss wants to know, do you ever get tired of writing Shadow Slave? A major burnout, that kind of thing. If so, how do you keep up with writing new chapters so consistently with the same awesome quality?
Well, I can't say that I have suffered from like burnout while writing Shadow Slave because usually burnout is a result of lack of feedback. Yeah, before Shadow Slave, I worked in a game industry, and burnout was much more prevalent there because you spend years putting all your passion in a project without receiving anything back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and possibly traditional books, authors of traditionally published books suffer from the same symptoms. But in web novels, since you are publishing every day and you receive feedback from the readers every day, I don't think burnout is very prevalent. Now, as for getting tired of writing Shadow Slave, I'll be honest, I was dead tired after about 2 weeks. And 4 years later, I'm still tired. Uh, there haven't been a single day when like writing was easy and I woke up thinking I can't wait to start working instead of doing something like easy and pleasurable. Because writing is hard work, and that touches on how I am able to publish so consistently because it's work, it's my job.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that real people are awaiting chapters is a strong motivation apart from self-discipline and so forth. But yeah, you wouldn't phone your office and say, I don't feel like working today, so I'm staying home. Same with writing.
That makes sense. Yeah. Jorag Juragumo wants to know, what I wanted to ask is more of a speculation on my part, but has Dark Tower by Stephen King influenced some of your world of Shadow Slave? And any advice you would give for writing web novels that are fantasy horror?
Well, I like Dark Tower series a lot. I don't think there are any like direct influences in the world of Shadow Slave, but uh, Dark Tower is a part of my like literary treasury, let's say. Uh, so there might be some indirect inspirations that I'm not aware of.
Mm.
Uh, as for writing web novels in the fantasy slash horror genre, just think about your favorite web novels. Try to understand why you like them so much. Try to understand what about them you don't like would have made better, and then try to come up like with a amalgamation of all the best parts while leaving out the bad parts. So that's a recipe for writing a good web novel, in my opinion.
Fair enough. All right. Sal has a long question too. Um, Hello, I just finished reading the Death Game arc and I wanted to say how much I enjoyed it. I find the idea behind the game incredibly interesting. I'm a game developer myself, and I would love to try to bring the game to life as a fan project. However, I would need some additional information about the game's mechanics, such as how each piece moves, what the tree squares do, and any other rules or details that were not fully explained in the novel. I would also appreciate your permission or clarification regarding the project before moving forward. Thank you for creating such an amazing story.
Thank you. You can definitely try to bring the dev game to life. It's not a problem. However, as for receiving help from me, I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you, and I'll open the curtain of writing a little and admit that I didn't really create the full rule set for the dev game because I worked as a game designer before, and I theoretically have the skill set to come up with a good working set of rules for a board game. But it's so much work. It's really making the dev game is a simple game, but making a simple game is incredibly difficult. So it would have taken me the same amount of time as writing the whole arc. And that's why I wrote a game that looks real, but there's nothing behind the curtain. So you can come up with the rule set yourself.
Okay. Yeah, Sal, I'm with you. Sometimes I ask questions to Guilty and he tells me to make it up. And that's pretty much what he just gave you permission to do. A single bald awakened, or is the spell's definition of pretty with hair?
Come again?
They want to know if there's any bald awakens, or does the spell actually give you hair as you ascend?
Well, I think the nightmare spell does see hair loss. Not the nightmare spell, but like the rules of the world do consider hair loss as like an imperfection. So as you raise in ranks, uh, you don't like lose your hair as much. Uh, but there definitely can be people with a flaw that says you're bald. So here you go.
That's really funny. But if they shave
So
their head, they could be hairless.
yeah, it's also a choice. Or there can be some horrible nightmare creature related accident that leaves you completely bald.
That's funny. I did write one of those actually, where they ended up. It was sad. All right. So Doomguy7914 wants to know, he says, "Hello, author, your creation has moved me to my core and inspired me to write my own story. There's just one glaring problem. I don't know anything about writing, plus English is not my native language. So I wanted to ask you, where do I even start? What first steps should I take?"
Yeah, I think I already gave that
Mm-hmm.
advice.
You did.
So first of all, you need to read a lot, and then you need to consider what you like reading, what you like about reading these novels, what you don't like about them, and then combine all the best parts while leaving the worst parts out.
I like it. Yep. Read and write. You've said that so many times. But it's great advice. Aaron wants to know, um, are you planning any in-person events, such as meet and greets or book signings, when the physical copies are released?
Hopefully, no. Uh,
Hopefully,
I'm
no.
I'm basically an introverted person. I will do book signings if the publishing company tells me to do them, but you also need to realize that due to the country I'm living in, getting to where the books are sold might be difficult or impossible. So there are also like logistical obstacles in the way of life events with me. So probably not. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, it might happen, but yeah, I don't think it probably will either. Euro wants to know, um, did you eat a bagel yet? Was it good?
Well, actually, I did eat a bagel, and it was super delicious. Probably one of the best breads I've ever eaten. So yeah, now I'm a fan of bagels.
There you go. It only took what, 6 months, 8 months? It'll it worked. Your coercion worked, Euro here. Greco wants to know, Greco982 for Rose wants to know, regarding the German version of the physical novel, is it going to be exclusively German or is it going to be translated into other languages? Hey, that's fun.
Yeah, we just had the announcement that the German version of Shadow Slave will also be released in French at some point in the future.
Very exciting. Is there a language you want it translated into? Just for kicks?
Uh,
No.
Chinese.
Oh, okay. We do have some Chinese readers on the server. I'm sure they would love that. So let's keep going. Hooter Icarus wants to know, hey G3, I want to start by saying that Shadow Slave is one of the best things I've read. I genuinely admire you for keeping up with the quality over the years and hope you can get some rest when it's done. And this is the same one, How to Write a Story. He said he's a decent writer, but it always ends up flat and not emotional. So I guess the question he wants to know is how to add emotion into your story.
Well, two things. First of all, I guess just think of your characters as real people, and emotions will follow, most likely. Uh, but actually, the second piece of advice I'll give about writing is to not pursue perfection. Like the advice that helped me the most was to don't consider that you're sitting down to write a novel. Think that you're sitting down to write the first draft of the novel. So when you lose the expectation of perfection, your writing actually starts to like unravel and develop, and there's a much higher chance that you will finish the story. But if you are like always rewriting and always thinking it's not good enough, then you will most likely never finish the story. So At first, the story does not to be perfect. It doesn't even have to be good. It simply has to be. You can work on making it great later.
Yeah, it's progress over perfection. I like that. Dust wants to know, did you ever forget about Sunny's flaw while writing?
All the time. I'm forgetting about it all the time. So before, for the first couple of years, I had to reread every chapter before publishing it to make sure that I didn't screw up something regarding Sunny telling the lies. Now it's basically an instinct for me, so I never consciously think about it. I still sometimes like mess things up, but hopefully uh, not often. Yeah, so yeah, I have to keep it in my mind and check myself to make sure that I remember the sun is not supposed to lie.
I I can only remember once where it was an issue. So you catch most of them, um, which is really good. So Goss wants to know. Oh no, right above that. Rossi wants to know, hi G3, while it was inevitable for Sunny and Nephis' relationship to progress, the transition in Volume 8 felt a bit sudden compared to the slow burn of earlier volumes. Could you share your thought process behind pacing their romance this way? Why did you feel this was the right moment in the narrative to accelerate that dynamic?
Well, if you think about it, Sunny and Nephis, first of all, they did not spend a lot of time together prior to the eighth volume. And second of all, there was always some deadly, inescapable danger on the background. So they were constantly trying to survive on the Forgotten Shore. Then they briefly met after Nephis escaped her nightmare before Sunny left for Antarctica. And then it was the Tomb of Ariel. All of these places are not the most like conducive, conductive, what's the word,
Conducive.
for romance. Conducive, yeah. And both Sunny and Nephis had like big problems with emotional development. Though they needed time to mature and reach a point in their lives where they would be open to a relationship. Yeah, so basically, volume 8 was just the first calm and relatively peaceful period where the two of them were in the same geographical location. Plus, it was time, it was what, 1,500 chapters of slow burn.
Yep.
So I thought it was time.
It was time. I enjoyed it, and it was a good breath before the next big piece of action. And so I do like how you kind of intermingle that. It's nice. Goss wants to know, could you tell us something fun or peculiar about Tyrus? She's the first saint that appeared in the novel, and sometimes I feel like we know very little about her. Is she someone you'd like to show more in the story?
I think Tyrus is present in the story a perfect amount. No, a good character does not need to have a lot of screen time. And actually, oftentimes, the best characters are those who are present only briefly. As for a fun fact about Tyrus, well, Tyrus, my probably most played game of all times is Heroes of Might and Magic 3, and Tyrus is named after the hero I always play in that game.
A fun little
And
fact
fun
there.
fact,
Yeah.
second fun fact, there's a character named Tyrus in a web novel called Supreme Magus. And she
Hmm.
is also named Tyrus after the Tyrus from the Heroes of Might and Magic. So here you go.
Very fun. Okay. So, Rogue wants to know, why did you make the novel PG-13?
Just because I wanted it to be, not depressing and terrible to read. I always say that my goal is to write a fun and lighthearted entertainment novel, not like
Mm-hmm.
some profound, dark, philosophical treatise on the human nature and the depths of depravity that people can descend into, so forth and so on. So uh, that's why I didn't feel the need to like make it more scandalous or bloody or grim and gritty and so
Yep,
forth.
that makes sense. I like
Plus,
it.
plus, plus, like young readers are some of the best readers because they have amazing imaginations and everything is new for them. So like they imagine all that they're reading much more vividly. So why would I exclude like one of the best category of readers from my novel?
I like that. Yep.
Yeah, and also I want to add a lot of people laugh at my statements that Shadow Slave is a light-hearted novel, and to those people I want to say that like I have to make it 10 times less dark than what I usually write to publish it. So if they think that Shadow Slave is dark, they haven't read really dark novels yet.
That sounded very ominous, but I know what you mean. That's funny. So yes, it compared to what it could be, it is absolutely more on the lighthearted side, which for my sensibilities, I appreciate. I like happy things. Um, Roosted Goose Rice wants to know. It says, "Heyo G3 Sensei, can I ask if Azarax has a true name?"
Azarax does have a true name, but once again, if I can avoid naming, I will avoid naming. Just consider Plague of Steel his true name, I guess.
Oh, I like that. That would work. Um, so Joppa wants to know, what's your favorite other ship than Sunfish? And I know how much you love the name Sunfish.
Hmm. Probably the Chainbreaker. Yeah.
Good answer. Slow clap because no one else can. Okay, Brock Star 29 wants to know, do you have the names and descriptions of other characters' aspects outside of Nephis and Sunless, such as Kai? If not, when you finish your novel, would you consider making them as a side project?
I see that this topic comes up a lot during this Q&A. Yeah, so once again, if I can avoid naming, I will avoid naming. And actually naming like abilities, aspects and stuff is the most difficult part.
Mm-hmm.
So the, we will probably never learn the names of the aspects and so on.
You can just have a contest and pick one. That's great. I like it. Stray wants to know, do you share Sunny's view on honey?
No, I love honey. Actually, I don't share almost anything with Sari. He's a completely different beast from me.
Right. That's really funny. Other than that, you both do want a vacation. I could see that being an overlap.
Honey has much more vacations than me. Let's be clear. Sunny was like relaxing half of the story. It's just that we focus on the times when he's working.
That's fair. That's fair. Blasphemer patates. That's a potato. What did Sunny not create? Why did Sunny not create Soulbound Memories for the fourth Nightmare cohort? wouldn't that increase their chances by quite a lot?
He was going to, but you need to remember that the situation worsened
Mm-hmm.
much faster than they anticipated. So he simply didn't do it in time.
There you go. So, Reverend Convicted wants to know, are there limited numbers of nightmare creatures or do they keep on growing?
Nightmare creatures keep on growing. Like there's a limited number of ancient nightmare creatures from the times of the Doom War and so forth. But yeah, nightmare creatures can like spread and reproduce.
Henrito wants to know, what's your favorite adjective to use?
Tenebrous,
Yes.
definitely. And a lot of people like are joking about my use of tenebrous, and it was a shock to me because only later I realized that since I studied classical philology and learned ancient Greek in the university, like to me, tenebros is a perfectly normal word, like no different from black or and so on. But to people, I guess it's a very exotic word, and that's why it like is very noticeable.
Yeah, it gets a lot
Also,
of.
since I also studied Latin, I was convinced that saint's main adjective is pronounced like taciturn, and I was heartbroken when I learned that English speakers pronounce it as taciturn. Right? Terrible
It's
change.
it's a soft C. That's true. Taciturn.
You're wrong.
Yeah,
You're wrong.
you're
People,
we,
you're wrong.
we're wrong about a lot of things. It's fine. English is a fun language. You just get to play, um, and figure it out as you go. But yeah, it is taciturn in English. Sorry, we're wrong. Um, Unhinged character wants to know, what is Ling's dad's actual name, or did you never give him one?
I did give him one, and it's uh, damn. I seem to have forgotten. Sorry, guys.
Oh no, me, I don't know it either. Oh well, we'll have to move on. Bird wants to know, what were some of your earliest ideas or inspirations behind Asterian's character?
I don't really remember. Basically, I knew that he will be like the most menacing of the three sovereigns. I knew that his powers will be subtle, and I knew that he will be the heir of Hard God. And I was inspired by like the Minotaur, half beast, half human. So I knew that Asterion will like that the core of his character will be duality.
Yeah, it was, and his mind powers. It had all the things. That was a lot. Really interesting. Real 49 wants to know, how's your mental health been?
Uh, I don't have mental health. Haven't had mental health in a long time, so I guess I'm great.
You did sound a little bit like Sunny there. I'm not crazy. It's everyone else that's got the problem. Uh, just know. That's funny. Mako wants to know, have you read Cradle by Will White? I found many similarities between Shadow Slave and Cradle and would love to know if it's an inspiration.
I did read Cradle. It's a great series. I wouldn't say it's an inspiration though. I think what you're picking up is that both Cradle and Shadow Slave are related to the same source. Because Cradle is basically a translation of Eastern fantasy, of cultivation fantasy, to the Western mindset. And Shadow Slave is inspired in big part by a Chinese novel called Super Jin, which is in itself like a play on a deconstruction of Eastern fantasy and cultivation. So basically, Cradle is like a child of Eastern fantasy, and Shadow Slave is a grandchild of Eastern fantasy. So that's why there can be many similarities.
Interesting. I like that. And I know Will White has read Shadow Slave too, so that's fun. Suchi wants to
Yeah.
know, yeah, it's fun. Suchi wants to know, is there a limit of how many holders of a certain ranked aspect can exist? Like, so far we know there are 3 divine, but is there a maximum number of divine that there can be, or sacred?
No.
Okay, easy peasy. River Annihilation wants to know, do you have a thought exercise when thinking how characters interact with each other or in certain situations? If so, do you mind sharing?
Not really. I generally have like the character voices in my mind, so I instinctively know how a character would react to a situation or what they would say. So there's no like separate thought exercise. It just comes naturally to me.
Okay, Anne wants to know, with the broadened scope of the novel within chapters nowadays, do you find it hard to balance nuanced personal moments with certain characters as compared to before? Earlier in the novel, especially on The Forgotten Shore, the focus of the story was magnified down to a small place, which allowed more personability, and greater connection to the characters. Do you think in the future we'll narrow down the scope of the plot to stay with certain characters longer, like we did in Mirage City, or will things keep just getting bigger?
Well, the story definitely changed from its early days. Fundamentally, Shadow Slave was and is a story about Sunny dealing with his personal problems. But the problem is that as Sunny grew more powerful, his personal problems slowly became the world's problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like the fate of all existence is now as one of his personal problems. So naturally, to write about his struggles to solve his problems, the scope of events have to be broadened very much. So I can't just stick to Sunny's POV, even if I want to, because then the story would be like unsubstantiated and will lack context. So yeah, the scope of the story has broadened as the nature of the narrative has changed. It's not as personable as it was before, maybe. So I guess I don't see the scope of the story narrowing down to the like levels of Forgotten Shore because we're slowly approaching like the final chapters,
Mm-hmm.
and the final chapters by definition will be the most broad and fateful among all.
Makes sense. Okay, Sovereign Supreme wants to know, what is one thing that you find common in all of the great stories that you've read and enjoyed? One thing you find that's in all the stories. Hmm.
Well, great stories and stories that I enjoyed are different category of books, because
Mm-hmm.
there are great books that I personally don't enjoy. So I'll speak about the stories that I personally enjoy, and they are stories where the author loves their characters. Because you can usually tell when a writer loves his characters and when he's just using them as plot devices to push some kind of story, an idea, or worst of all, like some moral lesson. So yeah, when the writer treats the characters as like people they care about. That's the best kind of story for me.
I like that. Okay. Um, Despac C2 wants to know, how did you come up with the concept of flaws? What were your inspirations?
Uh, I think there were several like inspirations, or rather several experiences that led me to developing the concept of flaws. I think the earliest and simplest one was during like a tabletop RPG game in the World of Darkness universe, and a simple gameplay mechanic that you can take like disadvantages to characters, which give you additional points to like purchase advantages during the character creation.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, during the campaign, I found that the disadvantages that we took made the characters interesting. Like my character had a disadvantage that made him clinically insane, and that was like the best part about that character. And then, like the moment of realization, the eureka moment. Uh, Actually, my favorite TV show is a Canadian science fiction show called Orphan Black. And while watching it, there was a moment when I realized that weakness is actually much more interesting than strength,
Mm-hmm.
and that achieving something from the position of weakness is much more impactful than achieving something from a position of strength. So that's why when I was coming up with Shadow Slave, I knew in advance that I wanted a system where characters had like inbuilt disadvantages and weaknesses that would make them much more interesting and vibrant characters to write or read about. So
I
yeah,
guess the
that's why I'm a bit disappointed that these days in web novel space, the overpowered SSS, whatever genre is prevalent, because give me characters with weaknesses. Give me like the underdogs. That's the best stories, in my opinion.
they're human. We like reading about humans, and so I like that. Building it in on purpose. Salt asks, unless my memory is fading due to old age, I'm pretty sure that at one point during the Fateless Sunny arc, it is stated that Awakened can't actually see what their memories do, with the exception of Sunny, who has Weaver's lineage. My question is, how does each Awakened know what their memories do? Is it just trial and error until they figure out the enchantments?
Well, they have like a notion of what they do, but to really learn on all the details, yeah, there is a process. There is a trial and error. There are also like specialists who do like memory study and appraisals. And actually, if you read the Noble Queen, you will read about one of those specialists. Yeah, so it's a whole industry, whole discipline.
Okay, KXTERZ. I don't know how to say that one. As someone who has found comfort in Shadow Slave through my high school career, does it ever hit you that you have created a piece of fiction that has become an everyday routine for a lot of people? Has that ever put pressure on you for what you write?
It's definitely a very bizarre uh, thing, and I don't think I completely like digested it yet. That like I wrote a story that I don't know how many, like hundreds of thousands or millions of people enjoy. Uh, it's a very like a positive feeling, uh, but yeah, it also puts a lot of pressure on me, and sometimes the pressure feels almost too much. So during those days, I just try to focus on my own perception of the story. And in my opinion, the best thing I can do is write the story that I personally like, and then people with similar taste will also appreciate it.
Really good. Okay. I think it's Isaac would like to ask, hello, I remember chapter 420 was titled Amazing Just Ahead when he finds the mimic. Was this a reference? And if so, what Souls game have you played? It says, I'm barely on 842, but I'm loving it.
Yeah, it was a reference. I love the Souls series. I played all of them except Sekiro. More than that, I even written like professional articles about narrative design of Dark Souls and given like lectures about it. Uh, so yeah, I played them all. The first one, the original Dark Souls, is my favorite, and Shadow Slave is full of like Easter eggs about Dark Souls.
There you go. Now people are going to go hunting for them. That's fun. Dreamless Dreamer asks, says, hello, I'm one of the fans of Shadow Slave in Uzbekistan. Your web novels are very appreciated in Uzbekistan, but the fan audience is very small. Not only the culture of reading web novels, but also the culture of reading hardcover books is not well formed. We have made many efforts to share your web novels with the public, but it is not working. As a writer, what recommendations can you give us so that we can share it with others? Thank you in advance for your answer from one of the big fans in Uzbekistan.
Hello to my fellow people in Uzbekistan. Well, actually, I don't think that you can force people to start reading. Readers, like habitual readers, often don't realize that reading is a kind of language, and you need to learn that language first to be able to enjoy reading. So, unless you learn that language as a young person or a child, it's very difficult for adults to get into enjoying books. In my experience, the only way to infuse the reading culture into people is it's if they were surrounded by respect for books from childhood. So in my family, reading was like a very respected and admired part of life. So I grew up respecting and admiring books and loving to read. So sadly, I can't give you advice on how to popularize reading, except for like teach your kids or potential kids to love reading from the early age.
That does make a difference, having those books available from in the formative years. I can attest to that. K9P6 says, what is your opinion on many fans calling Nephis not as well written as characters like Sunny and Cassie? They personally disagree.
I think a lot of readers seem to have trouble noticing subtle things. Like if a character's arc or his personality are louder, doesn't mean that they're necessarily deeper or like more developed. So, in my opinion, Nephis is a very developed and vibrant character, but she is a more she's more subtle and like expressing her personality. So when I see people say that Nephis is not developed, I just shrug and move on, I guess.
Fair enough. I like like that you left that question because it does get asked. Um, Paradox wants to know how much of the vile thieving bird did you have in mind when you first introduced it? Since it's one of the earliest concepts introduced, did you foresee it being one of Sunny's big future adversaries?
No, I definitely did not expect that the vile thieving bird will become an adversary. As I mentioned in the early days of Shadow Slave, I really had very little idea about what would come next. And it's inevitable because the scope of web novels is so huge that you simply can't plan everything in detail when you're starting out. Like in traditional fantasy, a series like Shadow Slave would have probably taken like 15, 20 years to
Mm-hmm.
be finished. Uh, but I did like the concept of the thieving bird from the very start. So I did think that it will appear somehow in the story again. So I'm very glad that it did.
That's fun. All right. Goat Joe wants to know, do you watch Shadow Slave YouTube videos or TikToks that people make?
Sometimes, not often, but I do watch them sometimes. Like sometimes people would send me links. Sometimes I just find it myself, or most often than not, the algorithm itself pushes like Shadow Slave content when I'm like scrolling through Instagram Reels or whatnot. So some of them are very fun. Some of them are not very fun. Yeah, but it's entertaining.
Yeah. 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 I don't know. I like the ones that you share and other people share. There's some really fun ones in there. Okay, Led wants to know, do they still play sports and host events like the Olympics or the World Cup in the Dream Realm?
They're definitely playing sports. There are definitely like competitions. As for like an Olympics type game or event, I don't think it's feasible at the moment simply due to the fact of how difficult and dangerous traveling through the dream realm is. But if the world survives, then definitely in the future something like that might and will appear.
I love how you put if in there. If the world survives, we'll have something. That's okay. Last question. We've made it. And this one is suspiciously from Guilty 2. It says, "Hey B, hey Guilty 3, love the novel. What a treat. And I hear that the author is incredibly talented, handsome, and humble as well. Just wow. Anyway, I had 2 questions. First, can you add more cliffhangers into the story, please? There's really not enough. Did you want to address that?"
Wow, what a coincidence. I really didn't think that the story needs more cliffhangers, but if there's a demand, I can definitely try. Okay, it's a deal.
Okay, you got your wish. I love it. And then the second question is there by chance a possibility that people who have pre-ordered the hardcover edition of Shadow Slave by Athon will get an exclusive sneak peek of the webtoon sometime soon? That'd be swell. Cheers.
Wow, what series of coincidences. Actually, I was just about to announce that for those of you who have pre-ordered the iPhone print edition of Shadow Slave, you should get your receipts ready uh, because from now until July 15th, you can sign up to get a sneak peek of the first episode of the Shadow Slave webcomic a whole month in advance. Yeah, so you'll be able to see the first chapter before anyone else. There will be a link provided sometime soon, maybe even right now, and you can go there and sign up for the sneak peek. And if you haven't pre-ordered a print edition yet, uh, I think you should. I'd be very happy if you will. And you'd be able to preview the webtoon uh, in July as opposed to August. So yeah, that's the announcement.
I have an even bigger one because actually, while I was talking to you, Rhett popped in, and so I took a moment. It is never going to be cheaper to buy Shadow Slave than it is from today to Friday. Barnes and Noble has a 25% off coupon that works on the book, and it's code preorders 25. So it just came out literally as the interview was happening. Barnes and Noble posted it, and Rhett sent it to me. So I'm going to put that in the announcements channel, but it has never been cheaper to buy the book. So do it now. Get your webtoon preview, sign up. I'm going to put that link up too. You'll get everything early, 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 early. We like it. So exciting times. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Guilty. And I saw Teddy pop in too. So there we go. We'll say goodbye to Guilty. Bye, Guilty.
Bye, Guilty. Thank you for your interview. That was
Bye.
wonderful.
Thank you
Bye.
too for organizing the event. Uh, Lots of love to the mod team. Thank you, Teddy. Thank you, B. And I hope you guys will enjoy the rest of the summer bash. Bye.
Thanks, you. Happy writing.
Bye.